OPEC Plus to face difficulties propping up prices, and the U.S. seeks a Red Sea maritime coalition against the Houthis. You're watching The Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. Slowing demand growth and rising U.S. crude production will make it more difficult for OPEC Plus to continue to prop up prices. That's according to the IEA. OPEC Plus has been restraining production to maintain prices, but it's still lower than producers would like on weak demand from China and a rise in U.S. output. The IEA says the continued rise in output and slowing demand growth will complicate efforts by key producers to defend the market share and maintain elevated oil prices. The U.S. wants to form the broadest possible maritime coalition to protect ships in the Red Sea and send an important signal to Yemen's Houthis that further attacks won't be tolerated. U.S. officials say they aim to expand an existing international naval task force into an international coalition that is putting some resources into protecting freedom of navigation. The Iran-aligned Houthis have attacked vessels in the Red Sea shipping lanes and fired drones and missiles at Israel since the start of the Israel-Gaza conflict. Saudi's annual inflation rate marginally rose to 1.7% in November from 1.6% the month previous due to higher housing costs, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels. The main driver of inflation is housing rents, though, which soared by 9.4% in November, showing a 12.8% rise in rent for apartments. Last week, official data showed Saudi's economy contracted 4.4% in Q3 year-on-year, mainly hit by a plunge in the oil sector. The kingdom's oil activities declined by 17% year-on-year in Q3. One of France's biggest banks says it will no longer finance any new fossil fuel extraction projects, a day after COP28 approved a first-ever call for the world to transition away from fossil fuels. In relation to climate change, Crédit Agricole said, "We need to amplify our commitment towards measures supporting the transformation of society." In addition to not financing any new fossil fuel extraction projects, Crédit Agricole says it will be selective in supporting energy players engaged in the transition. Large companies in the EU will have to identify and take remedial action if they find their supply chains employing child labor or damaging the environment. The Council and the European Parliament today reached a provisional deal on the Corporate Sustainability Due Diligence Directive, which aims to protect environment and human rights in the EU and globally. The deal also strengthened obligations for large companies to adopt and put into effect a transition plan for climate change mitigation, which lawmakers had pushed for. And that brings us to today's Forbes Real-Time Billionaires ranking, which tracks the daily wins and losses of the world's wealthiest people. Our biggest winner today is LVMH's Bernard Arnault. He's up $4.2 billion as European markets rally, and now with a net wealth of $200.3 billion. Our second biggest winner today is Oracle's Larry Ellison, recouping some of his $12 billion that he lost yesterday. He's up $2.4 billion with net wealth of $132.2 billion. And our third place winner is Elon Musk, up $1.6 billion with net wealth of $244.7 billion. Check out our website and our social media for all of the latest billionaires news. And a former global diversity executive at Facebook pleaded guilty to fraud after stealing more than $4 million from the social media company. Barbara Furlow Smiles was responsible for developing and executing diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives at Facebook from 2017 till 2021. Prosecutors say she made payments on behalf of Facebook to friends, relatives, and other associates for goods and services that were never provided, and those associates then returned the money to her. I'm Ramia Faraj. This is The Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.